My name is Maren, and this is Post Creature Pre Dirt. This project is an offshoot of the project that I've been working on for 5 years called Death in the Garden with my partner Jake, who Jake is the real filmmaker. He's so talented, which is a film and writing project that has been all about ecological and cultural regeneration, trying to understand how we as a species have found ourselves in such a perilous predicament as a creature. I, like most people who are alive and conscious at this time, am very aware that we are going down a really dark path as a species, whether it's from climate change, geopolitical conflicts, the polarization in our society, every direction that we're pulled in as a species. We are being pulled towards more division, breakdown, crisis, and eventually potentially collapse. I have spent the past 5 years working on a film project that's like exploring all of these things, really trying to understand what we've done as a creature to get to this point where modernity is alienating and atomizing and isolating, and we feel like we're cogs in a machine. We feel like we're just constantly consuming and being distracted. And I feel that human nature has been lost along the way, and that human nature is a really beautiful thing. I've just come to realize again and again and again the value of art. And I've recognized through conversations with so many people that so many of our problems stem from a really horrible understanding of ourselves through the storytelling that our culture has about who we are as an animal. And my feeling is that more than ever, we need artists. We need artists who are doing real art. We need artists who are supported in doing real art. There's so many ways that we are experiencing breakdown right now as a creature. And the shockwaves of that are global and pernicious and terrifying, but they're also very alienating and disassociative. And there's so much about modernity that feels sick. And as I've been doing this project over the past 5 years, I just keep coming to the conclusion again and again that humans are a storytelling creature. And there's so much in modernity that is even pushing that away, even making that seem superfluous, or that art is just entertainment, or that it's just a commodity to be consumed. And more and more and more, I just feel like I just want to push back against that narrative so bad. And so this project is something that I've been percolating on for a very, very long time. I've always wanted to do something that's separate from that project. A lot of what I want to talk about on this channel is creativity and the value of that we are losing connection to our human nature as we continue to be more and more separated from ourselves, from nature, and from the artistic root of being human. And so the goal of this channel is really just to explore that. Like, I feel that society is that we are cooked, and that the world is going in a really, really horrible direction, and that all I can think to ameliorate that is to make art. And so that's what I've been doing, basically. I've been working on a novel trilogy, and I'm really, really excited about it. It feels so good to be creative. It feels so good to make art. I've also been working on a screenplay that I'm very excited about. And my goal is to be a creator in a culture that doesn't really value it that much. We value content, we value consumption, but we don't value so much people who want to be creators. We value the product once it's completed, but there's often a disconnect, I think, between the conception of an idea and its ultimate creation. And I've found a lot of sort of companionship watching AuthorTube and seeing all of these people who are just sharing their process of writing a book, even if they've never written a book before. And I love the romanticization of the process of being a creative, the process of being a writer, and all of the hardships that go along with that, because it's so hard. I've already tried to write a draft that I absolutely failed miserably writing, and I've been rewriting it and having so much fun with it. But there was a really hard period of time with this project where I was like, oh my God, like I suck. I suck at writing. Like I need to quit this. And it was very comforting to find other people who are saying the same things about their projects. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, well, I need to be a true author in order to be a YouTuber that talks about like my creative process. I found that there's a lot of people who aren't published authors yet who are doing this sort of content. And I just really enjoy it myself. I think it's really fun. And so, yeah, so that's kind of what I want to do. I want to hold myself accountable to the creative process. I want to hold myself accountable also to putting myself out there, because writing is so vulnerable and creating is so vulnerable. I've experienced that again and again and again doing Death in the Garden and writing essays and doing all of this like work in the nonfiction world, and branching into the fiction world feels like a totally different beast, even though it's all so aligned. And I just feel that if I have a YouTube channel, if I do these vlogs, if I have a place to put video essays, if I have a place to just rant, maybe do podcasts with other creatives, if there's a place where I can just talk about creativity and encourage people to be creative, in spite of everything, in spite of how f***ed up everything is, in spite of how dark everything feels, it just feels like all of the problems that we face, they need us to be in the dark. They need us to be outraged and miserable and despairing. There's something so human about creating, no matter what it is, whether it's painting or writing or movie making or making audio podcasts or being a musician. Like there's so many ways that we create in the garden, we create all of these different things. And I just feel that one thing that I can offer right now, while I'm very limited on so many resources, is encouragement to other people who are going through this journey too. Being a part of a culture of people who take creation and storytelling really seriously, who see this as not only something that feels human, but something that feels important for the trajectory of humanity as we become more and more machinified, as the world becomes more bifurcated and we get more and more isolated, as AI threatens to displace so many of us and enclose upon our lives and create a world that feels completely unfamiliar. I want to continually try to bring people back to what it means to be a human. And that's a big point of my project Death in the Garden as well. But here I want to focus on this human. I want to focus on how can I lead by example? How can I show people that I can show up every day for my dreams, even when it feels like the world is on fire? And it's because the world is on fire that I'm doing it. It's because fear makes us feel like we have nothing to offer. It breeds incapacity. It makes us feel like there's no point. And I just don't buy into this sort of nihilistic narrative about humanity. And maybe I'll be wrong, but I think that there's so much potential in humanity, and we have an opportunity to be really creative and problem solve and make some of the best art that the world has ever seen. We have so many opportunities to do really profound, powerful things right now. And that's just what I want to devote my life to. And I believe that good storytelling is an incredible way to reconnect people to their complex humanity. I feel like we're surrounded by bad, cheap, insignificant stories. We're surrounded by entertainment. And I'm not trying to say that that's not valuable at all, but we're entering a time where so much more intention needs to be put into everything that we do, everything about our lives. You know, there's nothing sustainable about modernity. And that's something that is really, really colors my point of view in the world. And I understand that that's not going to be for everyone. Storytellers are either going to be in part responsible for the downfall of humanity, or storytellers can be responsible for us getting our shit together and figuring it out. Stories matter so much. Art influences culture more than almost anything. This is so deeply baked into the foundation of what it means to be a human being. This is the kind of creature that we are. This is what we do. We tell stories, we make myths, and that shapes our reality. It shapes the tools that we then create. Like, these things matter so much. And I just really want to take it really, really seriously and encourage other people to take it seriously too. Whether it's about the media that they consume or the art that they consume, how people interface with these things, how people engage with these things. And it breeds a tremendous sense of agency to feel like, to remind myself that art is one of the best contributions to society that any of us can make, because we're pushing the needle forward, not just from a technological point of view, but from a point of view of where continually complexifying the mosaic of our understanding of what the human animal is, what the world we live in is, and what our place is in it. And there's so many stories that haven't been told yet. And that's really exciting. That's really cool. And I just want to be someone who can encourage that and use this platform as a way to encourage myself and connect with other people, and also hold myself accountable to showing up every day to the practice of writing, because writing a book is one of the hardest things I've ever done. And it's so fun and it's so empowering. I've wanted to be a writer my entire life. Ever since I can remember. I can't even remember a day of my life where I didn't want to be a writer. It's always been something that I've done ever since I was little, ever since I could write, ever since I could hold a pen. I have wanted to be a writer. But I, like a lot of other people, felt that this is impractical. I shouldn't take up space. I think I even had a conversation with someone one time where I was like, I want to be a famous writer one day. And this friend was like, who do you think you are? And I was like, oh, like, this makes me sound like a dick or something. And I was like, okay. And so I think that I really took it to heart, this sort of idea that there was like something maybe sort of like narcissistic or self-indulgent or frivolous about wanting to be a writer or an artist, and that there was serious work that needed to be done in other fields. And that is where I should put my attention. And so I kind of followed that path like a lot of people do. So I got a minor in creative writing, but that was more just so that I could like enjoy going to college and have fun. But beyond that, I hadn't written fiction for a really, really long time. And that started to feel really bad after a while. So this current project that I'm working on, this novel trilogy, this is actually something that I think I've been kind of working on since I was probably like 13 years old. And I'm not going to like explain too much what kind of genre it is, because I don't really know how to describe it, because it's not that it's like so obscure and mysterious that it doesn't have a genre, but it's just like doesn't really cleanly fit into dystopian. That's like the closest. It's definitely speculative fiction, and there are elements of dystopian fiction in it, but I wouldn't say that's like the point 100%. But essentially the gist of it is the book is set 300 years after the fall of civilization, like global civilization. Humanity, the people who have survived, are doing really well. What then happens if this same kind of civilization wanted to rise again? And so that's kind of the premise. And obviously, based off of everything else that I said, I'm not like a super big fan of how our civilization functions. So, so you can see maybe the direction that this is going. But it's very ecological, it's very animist, it's very humanist, it's very just based around my love of life. Like, I know I'm sounding so like dour and depressing and grim and shit, but like I think that this world is worth fighting for. And that's the impetus, that's the goal of writing this book, is that I can help other people fall in love with the world again, fall in love with nature, fall in love with people, fall in love with my characters. And so that's what I'm going to be working on. That's the primary thing that I'm going to be working on this channel. And I wish that I was kind of starting this YouTube channel during like NaNoWriMo or something that was like more fun, and I could kind of like vlog that process. But alas. So right now I am currently working on the second draft of this book. this first book, and it's going awesome. I'm having to rewrite the whole thing. I'm basically chucking all of the first draft because it was garbage and I can't even like, and I'm not trying to be like annoying about it, but oh my God, it was really, really not good. And I'm excited to be able to kind of like go through and break down some more of these things as I go through this channel, and I have sort of insights that I want to share. But this second draft is going really, really well, and I've actually given it off to some alpha readers to take a look at and see what they think and get some feedback early on, even though I only have like 8 chapters so far. But so my goal actually is by November to be done with, hopefully I'm like very done with this draft. I think I'll be done with this draft by the end of the summer. I'd be surprised actually if I went any longer than that. So ideally, I would actually be on the third draft, which would be like the revised draft by then. And so the plan with that is that once I get that revised draft, I want to send that off to beta readers. I want to get it printed, send that off to beta readers, like physical hard copy, so that they can really, really like get immersed in the book and have questionnaires and stuff like that, which is stuff that I'd love to share with you guys. And right now, my goal is to indie publish this. I've done a lot of research and I have nothing against traditional publishing. I just sort of feel like I would like to have the control. It really means a lot to me, and there's a lot about it that I know isn't particularly marketable or like that I don't know if traditional publishers would actually like consent to my book. And so I'd be really afraid of potentially signing over the rights to something and then having it be changed a lot. I know that maybe is like an unfounded fear, and that doesn't necessarily happen with traditional publishing, but I know that it is a risk. And so I think my interest is more in being an indie author and going through the whole process by myself, and I'll figure out all of this stuff on my own. I'm so lucky that there's so much good information out there, especially on YouTube, about how to do all this stuff. And I'm going to share a lot of my creative process, but take it all with a grain of salt. I don't want this to be like the blind leading the blind, because I am not an expert. I got my minor in creative writing, but that is like, doesn't mean anything. Like, do not take my word for anything. I am going to share my own process in hopes that it helps you feel comfortable having your own process too, because, I gain a lot of value from videos that really explain, things like story structure, and all of these things are so important. And, the difference between plotters and pantsers and stuff like that. But I don't think that anyone like neatly fits into any category. I don't know. I don't think that story structure is like, you have to follow every single beat, or you can't like mix and match different story structures. I think that there's just a lot of room for flexibility with all of these things. And so I'm just going to share my process, like, even if it's kind of clunky and up, like, whatever. That's just like how it is for me. So, and hopefully it'll help other people realize that, like, even if you don't have all of your ducks in a row, you can figure it out. Like, you can work on these things still. And so I want to share all of that sort of stuff with you guys. I want to be able to have all those like fun vlogs that everyone does. I think they're so fun and they're so enjoyable, and you just feel like you're part of a community, even just watching other people like be so excited about their books. It's just fun to watch people who are very enthusiastic about their projects. It's just been bugging me not doing this channel. It's been bugging me not putting myself out there in this way. And so I just feel like at a certain point, you just got to do it, even if you don't feel ready for it, even if you don't feel like it's the right time, or like, there's just so many reasons why I could avoid posting this video. And I'm just really trying to hold myself accountable to doing things even when they don't feel easy, or they feel really uncomfortable, or it feels like I'm really stretching myself to have to do them. And so this is just like an ode to the creative process and how much discipline it takes, and how much discomfort it takes to just show up and just try to be yourself and try to make your art and try not to be bothered so much by everything that's happening in the world. Like, it's so hard right now, but like the world needs us so badly to continue just doing what we love and like being humans who have dignity and like love for themselves and love for each other and love for art and creativity. It's just like, it all is so important. And so I look forward to sharing the process of writing this novel trilogy. Probably like occasionally we'll throw in my screenplay. I'm kind of just doing that like as a spec project because I want one. I want to have spec script. I also like this story a lot. I'll go into more detail about that in a different video. But yeah, so expect more stuff around the creative process. Expect some video essays. I'm hoping that eventually I'll maybe add like a sort of a podcast element to this and bring on other writers, other indie writers. Anyway, if you've watched this whole video, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I would love to have you here. I would love to have more people following my journey, and hopefully there's something of value here. I think that art is so, so powerful and so important, especially in these times that feel so perilous. And I just want to be there to support people and encourage people and be some sort of positive influence. It's really easy for us to spend all of our time doom scrolling and forget that we're here for a reason and that we're here to bring our gifts into the world, no matter what that looks like. And yeah, we're here to be creators. If you're watching this, you're already a creator. We just need to continue doing it. We just need to keep showing up and doing the work. And so hopefully this can help encourage you to do so. But we'll see. Thank you.